Okay, I'll be looking at it. Shall we start? Okay, ready, steady, go. Sajanand Swami Maharajani Jai. Sant Samagam की जय हो निश दिन संत समागम की जय मानत जी संतन के मुख से प्रेम सुधारस पीजे हो निश दिन संत समागम की जय. આજે આપણા સંત સમાગમના સેશનની અંદર આપણી વચ્ચે પરમ પૂજ્ય શાસ્ત્રી સ્વામી ઘનશ્યામ પ્રસાદદાસજી સ્વામી અને પૂજ્ય ધ્યાન સ્વરૂપ સ્વામી ઉપસ્થિત છે અને પેનલિસ્ટની અંદર રાજ હિરાણી, અનુપ ખેતાણી અને હિમેશ હિરાણી એ પણ ઉપસ્થિત છે ક્વેશ્ચન અને આન્સર માટે. તો એકવાર એમનું જોરદાર તાલીઓથી અભિવાદન કરીએ અને વહેલામાં વહેલી તકે ક્વેશ્ચન અને આન્સર સેશનની શરૂઆત કરીએ.
Jai Swami.
Jai Swaminarayan.
Jai Shri Swaminarayan.
Hope you're well and ready for East London Hari Bhakta's questions.
Yeah, hope they're not too difficult.
They're right. I'll start off with the easy one. Okay, so first question, Ghanshyam Swami. Do you want to play or do you want to pass?
Depends on the question, otherwise I'll pass it on to Dan
Okay,
Swami. Yeah?
so the first question is relating to sanskars. Why do we have to shave baby's hair?
Yeah, baby's hair. So shaving the baby's hair is one of the 16 sanskars. And I'm generally, why do we do sanskars in the first place? It's just to give that extra benefit, that advantage to human beings to develop further throughout their lives. So this is one sanskar that happens in the childhood. And we've looked into it. There are many, we came across a lot of benefits. One source said shaving the head allows vitamin D to penetrate through the baby's head. That's one of the benefits. Biju ke through shaving the hair off, the child is able to benefit from acquiring knowledge, intelligence. So our alag-alag fayda hoche, benefits. And whether those benefits that are stated, whether they are right or wrong, but it goes to show that doing the sanskars allows one to have that advantage.
And the sanskar also, it's a purification method. That's what sanskar means in Sanskrit, where you're purifying yourself, you're refining yourself. So all these 16 sanskars that every person should be going through from birth till death, it's a type of purification. And enathi ghani badi vastu thai che, even though we don't see it physically or we don't see the benefits of it, they are benefits. There's a change that's happening within the body. That's why all these 16 sanskars, they're all very necessary. Not just for spiritual purpose, but also just to live a happy life.
Okay, so second question from Hari Bhakt. It's regarding something Swami's discussed in SSYM Digital a few weeks back. So the question is, in one of the sessions, they learned that the body and soul are separate. So when our loved ones passes away, we tend to think of our loved ones in their human form, even though they're in Akshardham. So we naturally continue to think of them in human form. How should we think of them once the soul has left the body? And is it okay to think of them in human form even though they're in Akshardham? Or is there another way of thinking of them?
Yeah, so definitely the Atma and the body are different. And it's the Atma that has been released and gone to its next destination. So if the Atma has gone to Akshardham, then it's an Akshardham. But it will have attained a new divine body if it's in Akshardham. And yes, I guess it's natural for us to think of our beloved ones in the form that we last saw them, બરાબર ને કે if he was your granddad, your grandma, the first thing that's going to come in your head is how she looked or how he looked. But we of course, we must realize that that's not the form they would be in Akshardham. Really, even though it's natural, we should try to go beyond that. કે હા ઈ તો શુદ્ધ આત્મા છે, ચૈતન્યમય આત્મા, અને ભગવાનના ધામમાં ઈ આત્મા હવે હશે તો ભગવાન એને દિવ્ય શરીર આપ્યું હશે, which is so much more beautiful, so much more pleasant than the human form that we had on this planet. Yeah, so how we should think of them. And should we think of them, have let the soul, he's passed away from us, તો હવે બહુ જેમ આપણે સત્સંગ કરીને વધારે ને વધારે પછી we also lose that attachment to our relatives as well. And that's what we should try to aim for. એટલે આપણા relatives ભલે ધામમાં ગયા હોય તો પછી બસ ધામમાં ગયા એ આત્મા ગયો છે, that's fine. બીજું કાંઈ વિશેષ સ્વામી એનું ઉપર કંઈ કહેવા જેવું? બસ એટલું જ છે ને.
So just to confirm, there's not really a right or wrong way, but you can initially think of your memories with them, but then after that you let go of that soul because they're with Bhagwan.
Eventually, every soul is distinct, and the relationship is only bodily. Okay? When they're on this earth, they will have some sort of relationship with you. But ultimately, the soul isn't related to anybody else other than the Bhagwan. So there's the soul, and then there's the super soul, and which we call Paramatma. And that's the only real relationship. Otherwise, a person that you may consider your father or your mother, the soul, it might have already taken a birth in another place, and it might be a mother to somebody else, or father to somebody else, or whatever. So these are just bodily relationships, and so when they're here, it is our duty to take care of our parents, to take care of relatives, family members. But after that, our duties would be, like for example, we do Shraddha. Shraddha apne kari, and we do Pitru Tarpana. So these are our duties that we must do, because they're part of the sanskar. So just in case a person has left their body, they might not be going to Akshardham. We might think that they are great satsangis, but they might not reach Akshardham. They might be somewhere else. And so when we do, for example, Katha Parayans in the name of our ancestors, the punya that we get from the Katha is passed on to them, so they could see the path of where to go now, because they're kind of stuck in this Pret Yoni, and so they can't see a path to move on. The energy punya hoy of all the kathas that we do for them, that punya reaches them, and they see a path on where they could go next.
Anup will ask you guys the third question.
So the next few questions is on suttak. So we'll start with the first one. Do the rules of suttak apply to an unmarried woman in the same way as a man? If someone from the paternal side passes, for example, often the term niyani is used to excuse women not to have to follow the dharma of suttak, and would be useful to have clarity on this.
Interesting one. I think before the girl is married, so she's still living with her parents, so any suttak that comes to that family, I think it applies to everyone in the family. If it applies to the brothers, it should apply to the sisters as well, I think, because as long as she's still living with her parents. But once she is married off, પછી જે સૂતક લાગવું પડે the family, એ પછી નથી લાગતું. So there are rules for ladies before and after marriage. How, to what extent they observe suttak. So niyani is one of those titles that applies after they're married, or is it still before they're married?
I'm not sure. I think it might be useful to let the viewers know what a niyani is. Some might not know.
Niyani, does Pulkit Bhai, do you know what niyani is?
નિયાણીને ગુજરાતીમાં ભાણેજ કહેવાય.
Huh?
ભાણેજ દીકરી હોય, ડોટર હોય તો એને નિયાણી આપણા મોસાળ પક્ષમાંથી હોય અથવા તો પરિવારની અંદર દીકરી હોય અને બધાને નિયાણી કહેવાય.
Right. So just a daughter, a simple daughter who is not married,
Yes.
she can also be classed as niyani?
I think so.
You think so? Yeah. It's a different. I think niyani really is when the girl is married off. Like functions ne kai thai. So what they'll do is they'll call the daughters who've been married off and into a new family. Hello, niyani ne bolavi. Because if she's already in the family, not married, so automatically she'll be attending all the events and functions. Lagbag niyani pachi kehwato hase ke kem. Well, that's another question for the viewers to ask, and then we look into it.
Yeah.
Following on from suttak, if we're meant to believe that we're the soul, why do we have to do suttak? I mean, the suttak is more for bodily relations, right? If your father, mother passes away. But we're meant to believe we're the soul, so it shouldn't affect the soul, right? But we're still doing it.
See, the thing is, okay, just by believing with the soul doesn't mean that we know we are the soul, does it? And so we have identified ourselves as the body. We might be saying it, that I am the soul, but we still identify ourselves to the body. And because of that attachment to the body, we must follow these rules. They still apply to us. Brahmarup Thegya, that's a different level, different caliber. Yeah? Once you become Brahmarup, then no rules will apply to you because you don't identify yourself as the body. So until we're body conscious, then all of these suttaks, gami, dharma, hoy, they'll all apply to us.
Yeah, so that goes for any of the other 16 sanskars. Suttak no je antim sanskar je se, I think you're talking about antim sanskar, the final rites. That's part of the 16 sanskars. So like Swami said, if one has identified him or herself as the Atma, then none of the other 16 sanskars will really need to apply. But because you're living amongst us, a society, a community, then even in the Gita, Bhagwan Krishna said that those who are beyond this body, like Janak Raja, for example, they will still abide to the dharmas, just so that the subjects, the people in the country follow the king. Yeah, so people will take an excuse. Yeah, so really, all dharmas, all sanskars, they must be performed as long as you are identifying yourself as the body. Like Swami said, just by having poputyu gnan, just the dry knowledge we are the Atma is not enough. Yeah? Otherwise, we still need food. Ne? So if you could have asked, yeah, Swami, we're Atma, so do we need the food? Yeah, do we need pizza? No, you don't. But you're not going to reject that, so you can't reject that, and you can't reject any of the dharmas and sanskars.
Okay, so because your soul is attached to the body, you still have to carry on with the bodily functions, i.e. eat, follow the dharmas, etc. And the sanskars.
Yeah.
Okay. With suttak, you normally do it for 10 days. But on occasions, there's suttak where you do it for 3 days or 1.5 days. Is there an explanation for this?
The number of days that we abide to Sutak depends on various factors. So it will depend on things like your relationship to the person, your gender. So like we talked about females, isn't it? To what extent they abide to a Sutak. So whether you're a man or a woman, it will depend on where you are, your location, according to where that person is. Je janmyu athwa je maryu.
Age as well.
The age, yes, the age of the person who has passed away. So it's various factors that influence how many days one should observe Sutak. So 10 is the general, the common days of observation. They will differ. Again, like, for example, I think if a lady has been married off, so parents murti pame, so she doesn't have to observe 10 days Sutak after marriage. Okay, something like that. So all these different factors are in play when deciding.
Yeah, so time is also considered as well. So for example, if someone passed away and you find out a year later because you were in a different country, or obviously we've got communication devices as well. But depends on time as well. Okay, if you find out very late, though that Sutak won't apply for 10 days, it'll probably just be just taking a bath to purify yourself. So there's many factors that need to be considered, and depending on them, the days would be calculated, and what to do.
So is there a like book that explains it all? Because I remember reading somewhere where if a child is born and they haven't grown their teeth, I think there's only a day Sutak or something like that.
Yeah, so Satsangi Jivan and Shikshapatri Bhashya, if you read the commentaries of Shikshapatri Bhashya, you'll find information about the Sutak, and also in Satsangi Jivan. So we've got references, you could always look into them, the scriptures.
So just a final question on sanskars. One of the questions was regarding the Guru Mantra. So it was, is there an ideal or best age to take up the Guru Mantra? And apart from following the Panch Vardmans, part of the taking up the Guru Mantras, are there other niyams that you should also be following when taking up the Guru Mantra?
So I think the ideal age for taking a Guru Mantra is when you become mature, because it's a Sharanagati mantra. It means to surrender to Bhagwan. And you could only surrender when you know that you've surrendered. Otherwise it's just like Popatu Gnanju. So the mature age would be once a child becomes understanding and they understand the concept of surrendering to Bhagwan. So that would be the ideal age. And there are also niyams. Like for example, you must observe the Panchvartman. You cannot eat without doing the Guru Mantra. You must do the Guru Mantra in your puja. And there's a variety of things. But I think if you're a true satsangi, you would already be observing these niyams that you need to do a Guru Mantra.
And you'd probably be in association with a sadhu, a sant, who would guide you and tell you about what a Guru Mantra involves. And, so you should have a good background of what life will be like when you are formally initiated into the satsang, because that's what it is. Acquiring the Guru Mantra from our Acharya, that's how it's done. Bhagwan Swami has formed 2 gadis, and officially those who take the Guru Mantra from the Acharya are considered to be official followers of this sampradaya, and that's what it is. Amto bhale badak janme, when a child is born, the child is brought to a sadhu, or if it's a girl, then to Sankhya ki bai, to do the Vartamans. But that's Samanya, kind of initiation. But the main initiation is with the Acharya giving one the Guru Mantra.
There's a follow-up question on that. I remember reading in Gadra Pratham 1, Maharaj mentioned Dharma Kurni Ashrit when Haribhakta goes to Dham. So does that mean that only those who have taken Guru Mantra are able to pass on to go to Dham, or can Haribhakta still go to Dham without taking Guru Mantra?
No, Guru Mantra, that's formal initiation into a sampradaya. And any sampradaya you look at, and any religion you look at, there will be some kind of formal initiation process. And that's what it is. And if that formal initiation hasn't taken place, it doesn't deprive you of Akshidham. But that's the normal path that we take. Because the important thing is we're talking about moksha, right? We're talking about Akshidham. So the important thing is we become nirvasanik. We become free from vasana, free from our other traits. That's the important thing. But going through this diksha process, that's going to help us. Sanskara bhajam kem sort of sanskar nivat kari is a catalyst to propel us towards our end destination.
Sounds good, Swami. Thank you for clarifying the Guru Mantra question. We move on to questions regarding bhakti. So one Haribhakta said, how can we focus on Bhagwan's murti and not get distracted during puja? I think quite a lot of people have this question, and it would be quite good to get your advice on this.
Yes, so first of all, when we sit down to do Mansi Puja, the one thing that obstructs us from doing dhyan of Bhagwan's murti is thoughts. And those thoughts would most probably be what you want to do during the day. Aje atlu kam baki che, aa karwano che, one madwano che, aya paisa dewana che. So we need to get rid of those thoughts. And in order to get rid of them, one possible technique would be a day in advance, write down everything that you have to do the following day. So now that burden's off, now you won't have to think about that. And so during the puja, you'll be able to concentrate on Bhagwan's murti rather than focusing on what you have to do during the day. So that's one method. Also, it's about love at the end of the day. Santos say prema no dhyan. So we don't want to just be meditating on Bhagwan just for the sake of it. I want to concentrate. You shouldn't have to concentrate. It should be a concentration that happens because of love. Because you're so in love with Bhagwan, you'll automatically be meditating upon Bhagwan. There would be no distractions. So it's meditation followed by love. And so we need to cultivate that love for Bhagwan. And that would mean constantly engaging with Bhagwan during the day. Apne 5 mansi puja kari. To ena mate che. So we fall in love with Bhagwan more and more. So the more we fall in love with Bhagwan, the more it's easier for us to do mansi puja, less distractions. It's also a state of mind as well. And Maharaj Vat kare in the Shiksha Patri, Nijatmanam Brahma Rupam. So we have to go through that procedure. Okay, I am not this body, I am the soul. Evidite sattad vichar kari, so it separates you from the body, it separates you from the mind, these thoughts. And so you're able to concentrate on Bhagwan. So there's many techniques, but the main one would be to love Bhagwan more and more. Jetlo Bhagwan ma prem hase, etlo dhyan and mansi puja saral thai padse.
Can I just add something, Swami?
Yeah.
One example just comes into my mind is the Vrajvanita Gopiyo. Okay, the way they loved Krishna, it just became a normal for them to do dhyan 24/7. If they can see Maharaj into the matku, they can see Maharaj everywhere, Krishna Bhagwan.
Yes.
એને ગાયોના બેલ અંદર ગળે બાંધેલા બેલમાં ભગવાન દેખાય છે. વ્રજની અંદર જે ગૌધુની ઉડે એમાં ભગવાન દેખાય છે. They can see it everywhere, although they didn't know the traditional way to do dhyan. But because of the love, I would like to mention that specifically that you mentioned, okay, because of the love and compassion they had towards Krishna Bhagwan, it becomes very automatic for them. So that,
They didn't have to do it.
yeah,
It was natural for them. For them, they don't have to do puja.
yeah,
You know, whatever they do is puja.
yeah.
And that's the level
That's
that
the
we want to
last.
reach.
Yeah.
But yeah, Swami kiddu ke how do we focus our minds on Bhagwan whilst doing the puja? And ape બધા સાધક છીએ,
Yeah.
હજી આપે ગોપી જેવા થયા નથી, પણ techniques that Swami has shared, કે the good techniques. અને બીજું કે જેમ વચનામૃતમાં મહારાજ કીધું ને કે આ સત્સંગ નવો ને નવો રાખે એમ. If you remember the first time, you know, we may have been given the puja and you know, the enthusiasm that we had, કે હવે મને પૂજા આગલા દિવસે આપે એમ થાય હું કાલે મારી નવી પૂજા કરીશ, અને you have everything ready, the puja po, everything that you're going to offer, sakar, hakar, you know, you go out of your way, ne?
Yeah.
Because you're enthusiastic with the first puja, and maybe that's one of the keys to keep your puja, your mansi pujas ever fresh. Okay, you recall your first day in satsang. Maybe you don't have a first day in satsang, okay? You're born in a satsangi family, but still, you think about the mahima. Okay, અત્યારે શું કરવાનો? You know, for the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to sit down, and who am I going to actually think about? And that's more important than anything else, anything that you're going to do during the day. આને પૈસા દેવાના, આને આમ કરવાનું, અહીંયા જવાનું છે. There is nothing in the world more important than doing dhyan of Bhagwan.
Yeah.
એનો મહિમા સમજો. And just like, yeah, that's what we need to develop, the love for Bhagwan. There's quite a nice story, a short story of, there was a yuvan, you know, youth, who hadn't seen his lover, if you like, for a long time. And when she was coming back, you know, he was only thinking about her. And he set off to meet her. And the only thing he can think of was her, his lover. So he was walking, he was running, and on the footpath, there was one Muslim man, namaz partato, he was worshipping. So he set his mat on the floor, but this guy, he walked directly over it. And that Muslim man, you know, he was going to get physical with him, but before he could, that youth just carried on walking away. But she, you know, the youth met the lady, he was coming back, and this Muslim man saw that guy, and he was the same guy who had walked over his mat, and he said, "Hey you, come here. Do you know what you just did half an hour ago?" "I'm sorry, what did I do?" "I was praying and you walked over my praying mat." "Oh, I did not realize." "Okay, what were you doing? You said that you were praying?" "Yes, I was praying." And then that youth said, "Forgive me." Now, I did not know. How did he not know? But I was thinking about my friend. You know, I was thinking she had gone away for so long, and the only thing I had in my mind was her. So I didn't know what was going on around me. But I ask you this. When you were praying, who you were going to meet? Who is he? Don't you have the same level of affection towards the God that you were praying to? In the same way I had the affection for my lover. So it goes to show, okay, who has more affection to who? Yeah, સામાન્ય માણસ છે એને સામાન્ય વ્યક્તિ પ્રત્યે કેટલું હેત હોય છે, પણ આપે ભગવાનમાં એટલું હેત હજી બાંધી શકતા નથી. Yeah, so it's about love really, you know, growing that love for Bhagwan.
I think if that question fits into place as the gopis and Krishna Bhagwan are the ideals for increasing our bhakti. So as it's Janmashtami tomorrow, I think we should all try taking up on the words that Swami said and look forward to our puja tomorrow. And then hopefully that that love towards Maharaj's murti will ever increase and we won't get distracted in our pujas, which was very well said.
Just to follow up on that, so it's a similar question asked by another Haribhakta. So just following up on the love and happiness for Bhagwan. One of the Haribhaktas has also asked if there's any kind of pratnas, specific pratnas that they can do to make Bhagwan happy or happier. So are there certain bhajan bhaktis they can do, things like that?
See, there's two things. There's prarthana and there's stuti. Stuti means to praise Bhagwan. So there's forms of kirtans which are dedicated to praising Bhagwan. And then there's prarthanas where you actually ask for something. And since they're talking about prarthana, a really good prarthana would be Mahabhadavanta Maya Tamari. Because it covers everything that a true devotee should be asking from Bhagwan. There's two types of bhaktas, as you know, Sakam and Nishkam. So those that have some sort of desire, worldly desire, and those that don't have any worldly desire. So we want to ask something from Bhagwan, but because we want nothing other than Bhagwan, we would be asking for things that will take us closer to Bhagwan. And so Mahabhadavanta Maya Tamari, that's a really good prarthana. It's very famous. Sarangpur devotees, they were the first ones to sing this prarthana. So I think that's the best one to sing.
And also having the right mindset, the right heart. Whatever we sing to Maharaj, the most important thing is you do it full-heartedly and with actual desire that you want what you're singing in the prarthana. But do we really want that? Yeah, so we should understand the word. So that's the other thing which is important, understanding the prarthana that we sing. Yeah, so two things, so understanding and then having the right heart.
And also singing, about singing, we don't want to just sing words. What we are actually doing when we're doing Kirtan Bhakti is expressing ourselves. That's what it is. It's a form of expression. And if we don't have that emotion within us, then what are we expressing? Because Santos, when they composed these Kirtans, they didn't have to compose them. They were so natural, like we know Brahman Swami Nibada Shigra Kavihata. They didn't have to sit down like a poet, a normal poet would do. Have a pen and paper in hand and they just start writing and thinking of words. It was just a flow. It was an expression, and that took place as a kirtan. That became a kirtan. So when we sing these prarthanas or kirtans or whatever it may be, it's about feeling that. Emotion is very important. You might not have words, but if you have the right emotion, then it will be effectful. Just like Dhruv, he was 6 years of age, and when he went to do tapascharya in the forest, Bhagwan gave him darshan, and he didn't know what to ask for. But he had the emotions. And so Bhagwan, he put his hand on his head, and he was able to chant the Veds. So he was able to express his love for Bhagwan. So emotions, they are what count. It's about having that feeling of surrender, that, I want Bhagwan. And Kharekhar Maya is a distraction. It's not making me come closer to you. Just having that feeling is very important, whatever you may be singing.
Just a personal question to you both, Santos. Talking about stuti and kirtan, which kirtans or stutis do you turn to when you want to express your raw love to Maharaj?
Vandu Sajanandara Sarup.
The first one that comes into mind, Sakiri Savare Salona Mure Suddhanali. That's one kirtan.
And why yours?
Mine is Bisra Najajo Mere Meet.
Okay.
Shall I put the other Haribhakta on the spot? No, maybe not. Go on.
I think we're running out of time.
So that's okay. Go on to the next question. Please could you explain the power of getting rajapos of a sant or a devotee?
The power of getting rajipo of a sant or a devotee.
Yeah.
So it's like that. Ne ke I raji thai, to Bhagwan raji thai gaya automatically. Tame koik badak ne raji karo, then you automatically, the father or the mother will become happy as well. So just imagine that Bhagwan raji thai gaya just by pleasing his devotees. Then you don't have to do the other sadhanas that you have to do to please Bhagwan. So it's easier to please Hari Bhaktos rather than directly pleasing Bhagwan maybe. So I mean, pachi raji po je Bhagwan no madi jai. What's the power of that? Can anyone even describe?
That's everything.
But have you, Pulkit bhai,
But,
તમે શું કહો?
Turn more mic please, yeah. નિષ્કુળાનંદ સ્વામી ખૂબ સરસ લખ્યું છે કે શ્રી હરિ રાજીએ સહુ રાજી, રાજી કરે અશેષ સુરેશ, રાજી કરે અશેષ દિનેશ, શશી સુરેશ ને શારદા, રાજી કરે અજ ને ઈશ. એટલે મહારાજનો રાજીપો મળે તો અવતાર માત્રનો રાજીપો મળી જાય અને એના ભગવાનનો ભક્તનો પણ રાજીપો મળી જાય. એવું
સરસ. અરે.
boys, if you want to say something.
Okay, another question. What can you do if you start doubting God in terms of Him not helping you? You're not going against Him, but you're just losing faith.
Interesting. They're all interesting actually. But yeah. આમ તો જો વચનામૃતમાં પણ મહારાજે કીધું છે કે આપણે ભક્તિ કરવી આપણે કલ્યાણ માટે કરવી. So anything, any devotion that we perform should be primarily to attain our moksha. Now, what's the risk in doing bhakti and upasana for any other things besides moksha? Is this. Maharaj has said that when your prarthana is heard or your wish is fulfilled, you'll become better bhaktas. But if Maharaj decides not to answer your prarthana or your wish is not fulfilled, you'll decline in satsang. So that's the danger. એટલે, ultimately, the bhakti that we do should be just purely for moksha, just purely for Bhagwan Rajipo. પણ એ ન થાય કે you doubt raises in your mind. So I mean, that's actually a good thing in my view. In my view, that is a good thing because that just goes to show, that goes to prove a lot of things. Just imagine that everything that we asked for, Bhagwan gave. So then he would give, then he should give everything that everyone asks for then. Now, what kind of place would that be? What kind of world would that be if everybody gets what they ask for? And the other thing is, that proves that we as Atmas have gone through many previous births. And along the way, we've collected a lot of karmas, good karmas and bad karmas. And now, if we have a Bhagwan who is fair, he trades fairly, then he should, ideally, technically, give the fruits of those karmas. So if I have done something wrong, then I should get the punishment. If I've done something good, he will, give me the fruits of that. He will reward me. So that proves again that jo atma che, we've gone through previous births and deaths, and atyare pan, je saru karis, then I've still got a chance. So it's not, even if I'm falling into a pit, whatever I do, I'm not succeeding, but that goes to show the effort I will put in, even if Bhagwan doesn't give me the rewards of those efforts immediately, he will give. Yeah, so that actually proves the Atma, it proves several things. The Atma a Bhagwan who is fair, and everything.
And also, I'm talking about doubts. The mind, it has a tendency of doubting. Yeah, that's what it does. It raises doubts. And it will try to dissect anything and everything that comes to it. And even if it's our faith, it will start doubting our faith. Because the reason is, the thing with faith is, it's not something we might have experienced firsthand. And that's why we're having to have faith. Because we haven't seen it. It's not an object that you just see and you perceive through your five senses. And so, the mind, if it doesn't find it logical, it will raise doubts, right? And Maharaj also says in the Vachanamrit, okay, when you have these doubts, Bhagwan ma jare apne nischay no dagmagat thai, ghat thai anischayna, then you should approach a sant. Approach a sant and tell them your doubts. Because otherwise those doubts, they will eat up your faith. Pachi faith namni vastu hasejni. Because doubts, they will completely sway you away from Bhagwan forever. Because ek doubt mati bijo doubt thase, and then it'll just stop making sense at all.
Many things in life will shake your faith.
Yeah.
But Maharaj kiddu ke ek vakat nischay kar lido Bhagwano, pachi ene uthado nahi. Don't question it again. Once you've decided Bhagwan does exist, that's it. But you have to remain firm and you have to develop that faith. Never look back. That's what Maharaj says in the Vachanamrita. Because in life, there are going to be up and downs. And that's what's going to shake your faith. So putting all those things aside, just keep your faith strong and keep moving forward. And how you can develop faith, that's like through satsang. Mandir ma aavo, shastra vaancho, Sant Samagam karo. That's how you can develop your faith and make it even stronger.
And it's not just about having faith towards Bhagwan. We need faith in all spheres of life. If you started up a new business and we don't have faith in ourselves, okay, that we will achieve it, we won't achieve success. So you need it in all spheres of life. It's not just for Bhagwan. And if your faith ma tamne doubt thyo, so you will end up not continuing your business. એટલે તમને લોસ જ થયો ને. એટલે બધામાં જોઈએ.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Swami. Just to add, I think it's a question that all of us had in terms of the doubts. We've all been through that ups and downs. We've all questioned at time, whether it's now when we were younger or maybe in the future, who knows. But hopefully that will help everyone out. And so similar to that, another question was, how do you respond to someone that obstructs one from doing satsang-related tasks? So now, whether this is their day-to-day lives, whether it's their job that's obstructing it, whether it's certain people that's obstructing it, family, friends, whatever, is there any advice you'd be able to give regarding that? It's a tough question.
What do you do to people or circumstances that obstruct? Ne? Well, if there are people, then એને સમજાવવાનો પ્રયત્ન કરવાનો કે જો તમે મને આડા આવારો તો જરાક હટી જાઓ. તો ન માને તો પછી ફિઝિકલ થવાનું. ના નો વાયલન્સ.
અને બાકી તો આમાં કેવું છે કે અત્યારે હ્યુમન રાઇટ્સની બધી વાતો ચાલે, ઇક્વાલિટી, બરાબર? તો તમે ભગવાનમાં માનો છો અને ભગવાનને રાજી કરવા માટે સાધનો કરો છો, એમાં કોઈક આડું આવે છે તો એને સમજાવવાના, જો મને આ કરવું છે તો તમે મને કરો આડો, હું તમારા કામમાં ઇન્ટરફેર નથી થતો. તો it's natural કે we shouldn't be interfering into other people's business. એટલે આપણે સત્સંગ કરી રહ્યા અને આપણે પૂરેપૂરી શ્રદ્ધા છે અને આપણે કરી રહ્યા હોલ હાર્ટેડલી, અને એમાં કોઈક આપણે અવરોધ કરે છે તો we should explain to them. અને એને પણ સમજવું જોઈએ. It's self-explanatory nowadays. કે એ કરે છે વાંધો નહીં, એ કંઈક સમજીને કરતા હશે ને.
અને વધારે તે ડિફિકલ્ટી કદાચ ફેમિલીમાં આવે કે કદાચ family member is that hurdle, the obstacle. તો શું કરવું? કદાચ ફ્રેન્ડ્સ હોય તો આપણે એનો ત્યાગ કરી દે, વર્કમેટ હોય તો એનું પણ આપણે બહુ ધ્યાન ન રાખી, પણ if it's your wife or your children, અને ત્યારે વધારે તકલીફ પડે. અને અમે એમ જવાબ દઈ દઈએ કે એનો ત્યાગ કરી દેવાનો અને સત્સંગમાં જોરદાર મંડી પડવાનો, એ પણ યોગ્ય ન કહેવાય. પણ you try to strike a balance. કે હા, બેસો, કેમ પરિવાર છો ને, discuss. You should have an open discussion કે જો આ વસ્તુ આમ છે, આ કરવા જેવું છે, ભલે તમને એટલું બધું સત્સંગમાં નથી તો થોડુંક તમને કંઈક બહાર ફરવા જાવ તો ત્યાં જાશું, હાલો પિકનિક કરવા જાવશું, પણ હું હાલીશ ભેગો પણ હું આ જમીશ નહીં. તો એવી રીતે you reach an agreement. પણ હવે એમ ન કહેવાય કે ના જવાય નહીં ને, કેમ ઇન ધીસ ડે એન્ડ એજ તમે નાના બાળકો હશે, બરાબર, તો એ એના ફ્રેન્ડ્સને જોશે. They'll see their friends doing all sorts of things, eating out. તો તમે એને નિષેધ કરશો અને એની સાથે તમે જાશો નહીં તો એ નહીં હાલે. એ તો એને શિખામણ દેવી પડશે. સમટાઈમ્સ યુ હેવ ટુ એડ્યુકેટ ધેમ કે જો ભલે આપણે અહીંયા જાય રહ્યા પણ આ ખવાય નહીં, આ ખવાય, આપણાથી આ તો મીટ ખવાય નહીં વસ્તુ, અને આના ભેગું આ જો બનેરું ને કરાય. તો you put those thoughts in their minds, અને કંઈક જવું પડે તો જવાય, પણ પછી you have your limits કે હું હાલીશ પણ અહીંયા સુધી એમ. એવું તો અમે યુનિવર્સિટીમાં ને હતા ત્યારે ભણતા, then we had friends and things but not revealing too much about uni life. Certain things કરવું પડે ને with friends, but you have your limits, and if they are truly your friends then they will respect your limits. Otherwise you should discard them. કે ના પછી એટલું બધું ફોર્સ ન કરે કે ના અમે કરી રહ્યા આમ કરો ને આમ કરો. It's not there because they respect your limits.
ઘણી વખત એવું પણ થતું હોય, like in our families, not everybody is a Swaminarayan Satsangi. They might be a Satsangi of another Dev, etc. So Maharaji શિક્ષાપત્રે સારી વાત કરી છે કે બ્રાહ્મણ હોય તો એને પણ જો પરંપરામાં ત્રિપુંદ્ર તિલક આવતું હોય તો એ પણ કરવું. મારે જેમાં નિષેધ નથી કર્યો, કેમ કે પરંપરામાં આવે છે. So continue doing that, but also continue doing your satsang. So it's not about just disregarding everything else. There should be a balance. કે આપણે જે કરવાનું છે એ આપણે કરવાનો સત્સંગમાં, બાદ ના આવતો હોય તો બીજી વસ્તુ પણ કરવાની, પણ ધીરે ધીરે is about just having a smooth transition. પછી ધીરે ધીરે
આપણે meeting a compromise. અને આમ જો બહુ એકદમ તમને સત્સંગમાં વિઘ્ન થતું હોય then you have to take actions accordingly.
સ્વામી, તમે જેમ કીધું કે કુટુંબના આગળ પછી બહુ કંઈ ન હગી, or we have to be a bit sensitive when it comes to family because we can't just like ત્યાગ કરી દે તો આપે પછી સહન કરવું પડે. પણ આપનો સહનનો સીમ ક્યાં છે કે that we keep trying and we keep trying with our family, and then amuk fere, like you know how we said with friends, we try as much as we can and પછી ત્યાગ કરી. પણ કુટુંબનો it gets a bit fragile. So how would we then work our way around that?
So I mean, as a son, for example, you would definitely stick to your duties. કે મા બાપની સેવા કરવી, that would be something very important. પણ અમુક લિમિટ આવે કે they just don't let you do satsang, અથવા તો I don't know લસણ ડુંગળીનું જમવાનું બનતું હોય ઘરની અંદર and you're having to eat it, then certain things you have to be very firm about them. કે આ વસ્તુ તો નહીં જ હાલે. And there's ways of dealing with that. And your parents or whoever, your family members, they must understand. We all have that liberty to do as we please and live according to our beliefs. એટલે અમુક જગ્યાએ પછી કોમ્પ્રોમાઇઝ કરવું પડે, એટલી જગ્યાએ કોમ્પ્રોમાઇઝ કરવાનું. પછી હમરો ત્યાગ જ કરી દેવો મા બાપનો કે હવે એની સેવા પણ નથી કરવી, એવું પણ ન થવું જોઈએ. So it's about having a balance.
So realistically, it probably doesn't get to that extent where your parents are forcing you to eat something that you don't want to eat. એવું તો થાય નહીં. So it's again, it will really depend on individuals how firm and devoted they are to their dharmas. So એમ થાય, just as a hypothetical example, કે your family might be eating ડુંગળી લસણ Now you've in satsang heard that we should be eating dungri lasan. Now you go to your parents, Mom, make me, separate sak without dungri lasan. Why? We're not meant to eat it. Oh, it's too much hassle, dear. Sometimes, what if I put less dungri lasan? Okay, Mom, that's fine, okay. And તમે એવો ઢીલા થાઓ તો પછી પતી ગયું. પણ જરાક if you're firm, then she'll say, okay, then I'll go and I'll make us something separate. And if she doesn't, then you'll go to the extent of making it yourself. Yeah, it depends on you yourself.
અને આપણે હટ પકડતા તો આવડે જ છે રી બધાને. નાનું બાળક હોય એ નક્કી કર્યું કે દૂધ મારે પીવું જ નથી એટલે જિંદગીભર દૂધ પીવે જ નહીં. મા બાપ ભલે ને કે તો એ ન પીવે.
પેલા ઢોળી નાખી ઘા કરી દે વાટકા એવું કરવાનું. એવું એટલું વાંધો નહીં, એમ કરાય એટલું.
No, you don't have to be aggressive.
No, if they don't listen, they're not leaving their parents, they're not running away from the home. પણ કદાચ વાટકો ઘા કરવો પડે વાંધો નહીં, એટલું તો હાલે ને. સત્સંગ માટે કરવું હોય. Okay.
Okay, moving on to a few more personal questions to you, Swamis. As you are born in the UK, what led to your decision to become a saint? I mean, you guys went college, you guys went uni. What made you think, I want to be a Swami?
For me personally, I think there was satsang at home. So we got exposure to satsang and going to Mandir, santos are there. A fairly good exposure to satsang. So all that, has taken place somewhere. And, I'm grateful that this other path was shown to me. Normally the only path that is shown to people is the Grasta ashram. Once you finish education, you find a partner, then you marry. You start a family. But I was grateful enough to be shown this other path from a young age. Apan che marga in life. Okay, it's not just this. So that's what led me to becoming a Swami.
Was it the same for you?
Yes, so very similar to what Swami said. I think it all starts from the home. Sanskarji garma made bije ke na made. So that's very important. And also Gujarati has been very important. I remember learning Gujarati at home and then going to Gujarati school. When you're exposed to Gujarati at a very young age, you're able to read scriptures. I remember reading, Bhakti Chintamani, Ganesham Leela, Nishkurant Kavya, Vachnamrit at a very young age. So I think when you read those sort of scriptures at a young age, naturally they will affect your mind in a good way. And as Swami said, being exposed to this path from a very young age, Santo Mandir ave to, satej padya hoy, just staying there and you're having a night over in the Mandir with Santos. So I think it's just being surrounded with satsang from a very young age. That's helped a lot.
At what age did you become Swamis?
I think I was about 21.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about 20.
Okay. Wow. So that's pretty young. So I mean, were you never scared of what others would think? At such a young age, you were at university time. Were you not scared of what your friends think?
Not really. I mean, we knew that we were on the right path and we knew it is the right path.
I think I was conscious of the friends thinking funny of me. The way I was with my friends, and the way I mixed with my friends, there was probably no sign that this person was going to become a Swami.
Very similar, Swami.
બધા આપે રમી જમી બધા ઠેકને જાય ભેગા જ બધું કરતા. So they would probably not have thought કે આ સ્વામી થશે. So when that news came up, then I was conscious that they would find it a shock.
બારેથી કોઈને ખબર પડે એવું આમ ખબર પાડવા નથી દીધી બહુ એવી ખાસ. Obviously those who knew, they already knew.
So what was your...
Like I put you? Sorry.
Sorry, Swami. તમે બધાને પૂછો છો પણ આજે let us have a chance to ask you something personally. તમે ખાલી સંતો નથી, કદાચ ખાલી ધ્યાન સ્વરૂપ સ્વામી અને ઘનશ્યામ પ્રસાદ સ્વામી એમ નથી, એ શાસ્ત્રી સ્વામી પણ છે, બંને સંતો. તો they have done the shastra abhyas, especially when you move from UK to India. It's not just the language barrier, there is also cultural shift as well. So એના ઉપર પણ first 5 years, how was your first 5 years in, like what you see here, it's very different than when you go and experience something in Puja Mandir, and to spend your time every day, day to day, learning Sanskrit, learning languages, rituals, એ બધી વસ્તુ.
Well, it was certainly a change of lifestyle. પેલા વેલા જાય એટલે I mean you're thrown in the deep end straight away with living with santos. એ કેવી રીતે જાગે સવારે પછી શું એનું daily routine હોય એટલે yeah, but I don't remember much being disconnected or feeling uncomfortable. It was kind of a smooth transition, I guess. And anything that seemed uncomfortable, I think, was diluted by the fact that you want to become a Swami. So you were mentally set for it. I do remember being quite emotional. No matter how many years you are preparing yourself to become a Swami, કે હવે સાધુ થાવ ને બીજું કાંઈ થાવ કરવું જ નથી દુનિયા મારી જીંદગીમાં. પણ that time where your family is actually giving you a way to Naranar and there, or even going into the Bhagat, you think this is the time, this is it. The time has actually come. So that was quite emotional, I remember. But in the back of my mind, I had that strong firmness that no matter what emotions may come into my heart or what other people may say, ata karvu che. Yeah, so that kind of overtook other emotions or the feelings or other circumstances for me. તમને કેવું હતું that transition?
It was a smooth transition, definitely, because we were already acquainted. I was already acquainted to certain things before becoming a sadhu, because I knew the lifestyle. But obviously, there's a difference in mentality, the way they behave in India. Amok manners apne aya je hoy India ma ochu hoy, but it's in a different form. So it was definitely very challenging at the beginning, but it didn't make me think any less of becoming a sadhu. Ek nakki karyu to ke aapne sadhu banવું જ છે. So it's
language
just about adapting.
Language barrier was quite a barrier to get over. થોડુંક શરૂઆતમાં કેમ કે there are technical words. આપણે રસોડામાં હોય તો કેટલા વાસણો હોય, and અહીંયા તમને નામ ખબર હોય, અહીંયા તો બધું ખાલી ઈ જ હોય, વેસલ આ લઈ આવવાનું. ત્યાં બધા તપેલીઓ હોય, ગમેલું હોય, બધા અલગ અલગ નામ હોય. And I remember actually being in Bhagat, which is in Mandir, and one of the Swamis asked me to get a specific item. Didn't know what it was, but I didn't want to tell him that. So I just went into the room where they kept all the vasanas. And બીજા સ્વામી કે આ વસ્તુ ખપેરી, and he said, right in front of your eyes. Oh, so I just took it because I didn't know what that item was. So ઈ જરાક પછી શરૂઆતમાં હતું, પણ yeah, but gradually you overcome that language barrier. ઈ થઈ જાય, વાંધો ના આવે. But the santos were welcoming. કે ઈ પણ they were conscious કે આ ભગત છે, વિદેશથી આવ્યા છે, કેટલીક એને જાણકારી ન હોય, કેટલે લાઈફસ્ટાઈલ પણ અલગ હોય, એટલે they were really good in helping to feel at home and helping me to move forward.
Thank you, Swami.
Just following on from that, Santos, what was your, so obviously you had thoughts about becoming a sant, but what was your pinnacle thought that you had, like, mane karuche, mane jaoche, like, when that penny dropped, what was that push that gave you the extra step to go permanently?
There was not really, it was over several years, we were pondering, I was pondering over becoming a Swami. So, and it was just a matter of finishing education and then just flying out. That's it.
Yo, Himesh, there's a lot of notes you've made, becoming a Swami. I give you permission, Himesh.
You're going to give my parents a heart attack.
Yeah, parents will be fine. So moving on to another topic.
When you are asking these questions, there should be a reason for asking these questions. So, if you want to become an
Ask
accountant,
more questions if you want to become a
you would ask an accountant about his experience. If you want to become an engineer or a doctor, you would ask relevant people. So I'm assuming that I was saying, maybe after COVID-19,
maybe. આપણે જાય તો સાથે લઈ જાશો નામ કહી દેજો.
Seeing as Himesh making notes, I think he might have submitted the questions. Okay, so we're moving on to another topic with conflicts and confusions. Modern times are always clashing with Maharaj's agnas, such as doctors, nurses, schools prohibit wearing kanti. How can we get around this and continue to carry out Maharaj's agnas? So in school, in your science lessons, you usually have to dissect a pig's heart, or when you go to the doctors, you've got to take injections which contain gelatin or eggs. So how do you overcome stuff like this?
And things like that, you do have the liberty to say no. And I remember as well in my science class where we had to chop up a frog and do whatever. But I didn't do that. And I said that I'm not comfortable with it. It's against my religion to be doing things like this. And happily accepted. I remember going to swimming and the coach, he was telling me that I can't wear the kanti. And I said, I can't take it off. But obviously, I got away with it, wearing it, just tight karine. But some people can't do that. So it's about what you value more. Do you value your satsangi pano, or do you value whatever you're having to do? And if you value satsang more, then you'll do everything for satsang. આપણે કહીએ ને શિર સાથે સત્સંગ રાખવાનો છે એમ. પછી ગમે એટલા વિઘ્ન આવે એમાં. જબરદસ્તીથી તમને કરવું પડે રહ્યો and it's not having effect on yourself. તો પછી why should we give up our satsang for mediocre things? અને બાકી તમે જેમ ડૉક્ટરનું કીધું કે ઘણી વખતે ડૉક્ટરે જવું પડે and x-ray લેવાનો હોય કે they might say take off your kanti or something. So there have been cases like, for example, one of our elder santos, when they had to take an operation, they told him to take off their kanti or their bhagwa kapda. So obviously operation to karvano જ છે because it's a matter of life and death. So santo, they found another way કે સારું તો ભગવો આપણે છોડી તો ન હગી તો છેલ્લી બાકી અહીં બાંધવું કપડું તો ભગવું પણ આપણે પહેરી રાખ્યું પણ કહેવાય અને સજરી પણ થઈ જાય. So it's about finding an alternative. If you can find that, that's better. And બાકી it just relies on your faith. કેટલી શ્રદ્ધા છે, કેટલો વિશ્વાસ છે ભગવાનમાં એમ.
Another one regarding conflicts or confusions is regarding the Mara. So why do we not use our index finger when doing a Mara? Is there a particular reason for it?
Usually the index finger is kind of considered as sin, kind of related to sin or egoism. So that's one of the reasons. And બીજું શું છે કે all the fingers on our hands, they have a purpose and they have certain powers as well. આપણે ભાલના વિશે on our foreheads, આપણે જે ચાંદલો કરી, so we'll use this finger. But we can use other fingers as well, depending on what's the desire of the Hari Bhagat. If you desire for material things, then somebody, a sant, might do the chandra with the thumb. Ampanthai. So they have different properties actually, different powers in them. But this index finger in particular is kind of considered inferior. And we use this finger to point at people. That's the reason why we avoid the index finger touching the actual mara itself. બીજું કે મુદ્રા પણ આપણે જ્યારે કરતા હોય ત્યારે
એ આપણે યોગની અંદર આવે મુદ્રા અલગ અલગ, and they all have a different energy levels, kind of they connect you to different forces. અને જેમ સ્વામી કીધું ને કે બધામાં અલગ અલગ ફળની પ્રાપ્તિ થાય. આપણે જેવી મુદ્રા કરી હોય એ પ્રમાણે આપણે ફળની પ્રાપ્તિ થાય. ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ this would be જ્ઞાન મુદ્રા. તેમ અલગ અલગ પ્રકારની આવે છે. So there's something more, much more behind it. It's not just for convenience. Convenience, that's also a part, definitely. કેમ કે આપણે માળા કરતા હોય તો it's just natural inclination કે આવી રીતે આપણે સેજે સેજે કરી. This might be a bit awkward કેમ કે આમ નજીક આવી જાય ને વધારે, એટલે એ પણ છે. પણ there's always a science behind every ritual or every method in our satsang, in our sampradaya. And just general Sanatan Dharma.
Saras, thank you, Swami. So now during Chaturmas that we're in right now, a question came that why can't we eat ringra and mura, and some people say watermelon as well.
Yeah, for Chaturmas there are various restrictions on particular foods. So just taking that question generally rather than specific items, any restrictions that put forward is due to its inappropriateness to be digested well in the body because of the time of the year. Je season hoy I pramane the body will change throughout the year. So during those 4 months, Chaturmas, monsoon, the season is such, the temperature around you is such that it's not really beneficial. Maybe it's even harmful to eat those particular food items. એટલે અનિષેધ કર્યું હોય. બીજું I don't think કે કંઈક આધ્યાત્મિક માર્ગ ઉપર એનું reason હોય, spiritually. It's really health benefits, I think, physical benefits for avoiding those items.
બીજું એવું છે કે આપણે જેમ સત્સંગી જીવનમાં જોઈએ તો આપણે 4 મહિના આવતું હોય, શાક ન ખાવું, દૂધ, દહીં, દ્વિદળ. તો એની અંદર પણ સાયન્સ છે કે ચોમાસું હોય એટલે વરસાદ આવે, શાકની અંદર વરસાદ પાણી રહી જાય એટલે શાક હોય હળે, એટલે એની અંદર જીવાક પેદા થાય. એટલે આપણે જમી તો આપણે ઘણી વખતે ખબર ન પડે આની અંદર જીવાક છે. જેમ કે વૈતાક હોય તો એનામાં વધારે જીવાકની પેદાશ થતી હોય, અને એનું નેચર સહેજી ગરમ પ્રકૃતિનું હોય. એટલે ચોમાસાની અંદર અતિ ગરમ વસ્તુ પણ આપણે નુકસાન કરે છે. as Swami said about the digestion as well. એટલે ઘણી બધી વસ્તુ માંસનો હિંસા ન થઈ જાય આપણેથી, અને એ વસ્તુ ગરમ હોય તો it has an effect on our body and our mind which is not helpful for doing bhajan bhakti. એટલે આ બધી વસ્તુ એવી રીતે, હવે જો શાસ્ત્રોની અંદર બધી વસ્તુ લખેલી ન હોય, reason for every single statement, એ વસ્તુ શાસ્ત્રમાં ન મળે અને દુનિયામાં ક્યાંય ન મળે. You can't justify every single statement. એટલે અમુક વસ્તુ we have to think between the lines કે એની અંદર હોય કાંઈક કારણ હોય જ. If we dig deep into it, તો it'll reconcile with science as well. And baki, just generally speaking, we shouldn't be asking for a reason for every single thing. આપણે સત્સંગની અંદર સનાતન ધર્મમાં જે કાંઈ થાય છે, we shouldn't, આપણે એમ ન થવું જોઈએ કે મને કારણ મળે તો જ મારે કરવું હોય. Because there's so many things we do in our normal lives that we can't justify. So why are we doing those things? So similarly, this is all based on our faith. Okay, we have faith in the scriptures. We know that it's always beneficial for us. So આપણે ઈ પ્રમાણે રહેતા આપણે શીખવું જોઈએ. And we should be striving towards living to those principles.
And for different people, different sanस्थाs, they will have different traditions. કોઈ કે એમ માનશે કે આ વસ્તુ ન ખવાય ને આપણે ખાતા હશું. So that will vary as well. એટલે yeah, and we get the questions for Ekadasi as well, કે what can we and cannot eat. હવે હમણાં કંઈક નવું નીકળ્યું broccoli. So that is asked, કે are we allowed to eat broccoli on Ekadashi? I don't know, હવે ઈ કે શાસ્ત્રમાં તો નહીં મળે, like Swami said, બધી એકે વસ્તુની મળે નહીં. But if there's any doubt, then don't eat it. That's the most simplest and straightforward answer. ને કે જો શંકા હોય તો એ એકાદશીના ન જમવું અને બીજું બટેટા તો છે જ, એનો તો કોઈ દિવસ કોઈ નિષેધ નહીં કરી શકે, તો એ જમવું એમ.
અને બાકી જો આપણે સનાતન ધર્મ જોઈએ ને તો there's so many dharma scriptures. જેમ કે આપણે મનુસ્મૃતિ જોઈએ અથવા તો યાજ્ઞવલ્ક્ય ઋષિની સ્મૃતિ જોઈ. So they all talk about dharma, but it was specific for that age. To be on the safe side, આપણે એટલું કમસે કમ કરી શકીએ કે we live according to the dharmas in the શિક્ષાપત્રી and in સત્સંગી જીવન. આપણે જે નેસેસિટી છે ભગવાનના ધામ સુધી પહોંચવા અને ભગવાનને રાજી કરવા માટે is all mentioned in the શિક્ષાપત્રી and the સત્સંગી જીવન. અને છેલ્લી બાકી આપણા 8 સત્શાસ્ત્રો. એટલે એની અંદર જો આવતું ન હોય and it's not in our પરંપરા, then we don't necessarily need to be obeying every single thing. કેમ કે ધર્મ તો અનંત છે અને આપણે બધા ધર્મની તો ખ્યાલ ન હોય. આપણે ગુરુ હોય અથવા તો આપણે પરંપરામાં એ ધર્મ મળ્યા હોય એ પ્રમાણે આપણે રહેવાનું અને આપણે સત્સંગ ભજન ભક્તિ કરવાની. બિકોઝ અંતે મહારાજ પોતે કીધું કે એક સર્કમસ્ટાન્સ એવો આવે કે ધર્મ રાખવા જાય ને ભક્તિ જાય, ભક્તિ રાખવા જાય તો ધર્મ જાય. તો એમાં શું કરવું? અલ્ટિમેટલી ઇઝ ભક્તિ. ઓબ્વિયસલી વી શુડન્ટ બી ડિસરિગાર્ડિંગ ધર્મ. જેમ કે શિક્ષાપત્રીની અંદર પણ આ ઉદ્ધવ સંપ્રદાયનું લક્ષણ કીધું કે ધર્મ સહિત ભક્તિ, આ ઉદ્ધવ સંપ્રદાયનું લક્ષણ છે. માત્ર ભક્તિ નથી કરવાની પણ ધર્મ સહિત. પણ એ જેટલી પડાય અને જેટલું આપણે જ્ઞાન હોય, જેટલું આપણે જ્ઞાન સંતો અને શાસ્ત્રોમાંથી પ્રાપ્ત કરી શકીએ ધર્મ વિશે, એટલું આપણે પાલન કરવું જોઈએ.
Is there a reason why Ganesha Maharaj or Bhagwan blesses us with his left hand rather than his right hand?
Yeah. Well, actually, Bhagwan blesses with both hands. Yeah. So one kind of blessing is called Abhedan. The other type of blessing is called Vardhan. So if you look at our own Ganesha Maharaj, he's giving both types of blessings. So with the left hand, which is like this, he's giving Abhedan. With his right hand, which is like this, he's giving Vardhan. So he's giving two types of blessings. Normally, આપણે એમ શું લાગે કે blessings આમ જ થાય, આયુષ્માન ભવા, પુત્રવાન ભવા, એવું નથી. પણ બે પ્રકારના આશીર્વાદ ભગવાન દે છે. સો વરદાન મીન્સ કે જે ભક્ત ઈચ્છાથી આવ્યો હોય, ભગવાન ફુલફિલ્સ their desires, their wishes. And Abhedan, Bhagwan makes the devotee fearless. Yeah? Abhay, bhay એટલે fear. Abhay એટલે fearless. તો એ દાન દે છે, એ આશીર્વાદ દે છે કે પછી કોઈ જાતનો ભય રહેતો નથી, જન્મ મરણનો ભય. કોઈનું પછી ત્રાસ હોતો જ નથી, સુખ દુઃખ ગમે એ આવે. So it's two types of blessings.
A few years ago, Swami, we had a souvenir, and we specifically mentioned about why Maharaj is doing Abhaydan with this mudra. This is a yoga mudra, Swami kidhu em. So, according to the apna Vedic Sanatan Dharma Shastra Pramane, this is a sattva gun, this is a rajogun, and this is a tamogun. This is a sattva gun, rajogun, and a tamogun, and this is a atma, and this is a paramatma. તો ભગવાન આપણને એવું કહે છે કે તમે રજોગુણ તમોગુણ અને સત્વગુણથી જો પર થશો તો જીવ અને શિવનું મિલન છે એ આ રીતે થઈ જશે અને તમને અભયદાન મળશે. તો એ મુદ્રાનો અમે બહુ સારી રીતે ડિસ્ક્રિપ્શન આપેલું, પણ મને એમ થયું કે અત્યારે રિલેવન્ટ છે તો વાત કરું. અને માળાની પણ મને એ વસ્તુ યાદ આવી કે ભગવાન પોતે તમારા તમોગુણને ઘસે છે. જ્યારે આપણે માળા આ તમોગુણની આંગળી જોડે ઘસાય ત્યારે આપણો તમોગુણ, રજોગુણ અને સત્વગુણ એ ઘસતા ઘસતા આપણો જીવ છે ને એ આ ત્રણેયથી પર થઈ જાય છે અને પછી ભગવાનના આપણને આશીર્વાદ મળે છે. એટલે એવો એક કન્સેપ્ટ પણ વિચાર.
So one, symbolic way to think about it.
Another question we had was regarding the avatars of Bhagwan. And so one of the questions was, how come all of the Bhagwan avatars descended in India and not other countries on earth? I'm not sure if it's an easy question to answer or not.
એટલે જો આમ આપણે જોવા જાય ને તો આપણે હિન્દુ સનાતન ધર્મના જે શાસ્ત્રો છે તો એ શાસ્ત્રોની અંદર જે ઉપાસના છે અને જે ધર્મ નિયમ છે તો એ બધા ધર્મો they've been followed in Bharatvarsh. So first of all, Bharat is not what we call India today. It wasn't what we call India today. It was much more than that. પછી તો ડિવિઝન થઈ ગયા અફઘાનિસ્તાન, પાકિસ્તાન વગેરે આજુબાજુના દેશ. So it was that place where those dharmas were followed by Rishi Munis. And therefore they became tirtharup. They became auspicious places, pilgrimages. એટલે ભગવાન જો પૃથ્વી લોક ઉપર આવે તો એ તીર્થભૂમિ ઉપર જ એ જન્મ ધારણ કરશે કે જ્યાં ઋષિ મુનિઓ હજારો વર્ષો સુધી તપશ્ચર્યાઓ કરી હોય અને એક તપસ્થલી બની હોય, ત્યાં સહેજે સહેજે આધ્યાત્મિકતાનું વાતાવરણ હોય. એટલે ભગવાન મોટા ભાગે ભારત ભૂમિને વિશે જ એ જન્મ ધારણ કર્યો છે. And even if you look at the history of different nations all over the world, જેવું ભારતમાં છે એવું બીજે ક્યાંય થયું નથી. If you look back in history, આપણે એમાં જેટલી સ્પિરિચ્યુઆલિટી છે અને બધાને ખબર છે ને આજે આખી દુનિયા એ ભારતમાં આવે છે to have some sort of a spiritual experience. એટલે we're known for it even today. એટલે એનું કારણ આ છે કે ત્યાં ઘણી બધી સાધનાઓ થયેલી છે વૈદિક શાસ્ત્રો પ્રમાણે.
વચનામૃતમાં આઈ થિંક ખગોળ ભૂગોળનામાં મહારાજ લખે છે કે આર્ય પ્રદેશ અને અનાર્ય પ્રદેશ. બિકોઝ આપણી ભારત ભૂમિ એ આર્ય પ્રદેશની અંદર આવે એટલે અવતારોને ત્યાં જન્મ ધરવાનું કારણ આર્ય પ્રદેશ છે. અને બીજું એક સૂત્ર એ પણ યાદ આવે, સ્વર્ગા દપી વર્ગા સ્પદ ભૂત માર્ગે. એવું તમને તો સંસ્કૃતનો ખબર પડશે, મને બહુ મિનિંગ ખબર નથી, પણ દેવતાઓને સ્વર્ગમાંથી અક્ષરધામમાં જવું હોય તો એનો રસ્તો ભારતમાં થઈને જાય છે, એવું કંઈક આ સૂત્ર સંસ્કૃતમાં કહેવા માગે છે એમ. એટલા માટે પણ ભારતની અંદર અથવા તો કોઈ આર્ય ભૂમિ કહેવાથી પહેલાં એમાં ભગવાનના અવતારો થાય છે.
And even considering why Bhagwan even takes an avatar on Prithvi is to fulfill the desires of bhaktos. Okay? They want Bhagwan to be the brother. They want Bhagwan to be their son.
Absolutely.
So those kind of devotees are placed more or less in Bharat. And that's where the spirituality that we see around the world is originated from Bharat. You take out India, you take out Bharat out of the equation, you've left with nothing. You don't have spirituality.
Yeah.
But you have the religions, but all the spirituality that you see is from Bharat. And I'm not saying that because we're Bharatiyas or we're Hindus, but that's the fact that everyone has to accept. એટલે so જો એવા ભક્તો હોય એના માટે તો ભગવાન આવે ને, પછી બીજા જે ઠેકાણે એવા ન હોય તો ભગવાન આવે નહીં, કાં બીજાને મોકલે એમ. Messengers that they call.
Saras, thank you, Swami. Next question is from a Hari Bhakta: is it true that one must marry or take Tyaga ashram, or is there another ashram in between?
I don't think there's another ashram. Is there another ashram in between? There's a bachelor, so there's a brahmacharya ashram. But brahmacharya, you move away from brahmacharya eventually, which is either a grastha ashram or a tyaga ashram. And એવું છે કે when you're moving into one of either of the ashrams, you're becoming responsible for the community. You're taking on that burden. Okay, જો ગ્રસ્તમાં જાશો તો એ પ્રમાણે you'll fulfill your responsibility. અને તમે ત્યાગ આશ્રમમાં જાશો તો એ પ્રમાણે you'll fulfill. It's like તમે મંદિરમાં છો અને you can do seva, but if you put your name down for a particular seva, then it's formal. અને કહેવાય કે આ ભક્ત અહીંયા છે ને આ સેવામાં નોંધેલો છે. બાકી તો નાનું મોટું બધું કરો. But it's good to be formally part of an ashram.
નહીં તો પછી ફ્રીડમ જ થઈ ગયું ને કે મને સાધુ નથી થવું પણ મારે લગ્ન પણ નથી કરવા. સો યુ જસ્ટ બિંગ ઇરિસ્પોન્સિબલ. એટલે આપણે કોઈ પણ if we're not part of any ashram, then we have no rules to follow, and so we have that freedom. So ચાર આશ્રમ જે છે ને એના માટે જ છે કે you need to be part of one, otherwise you're just being irresponsible.
તો તમે કયા which dharmas are you going to follow?
Yeah, there are no dharmas for you then. You could do as you wish then.
So that's like taking an easy way out. તો ઈ ના હાલે ને. I mean, you need to think about okay, why does that person have that question? Is it they don't like the responsibility of getting married and the burden that comes along with it? You need to think about the. But I'm khabar nathi ne. Are there names to these questions?
No.
Anonymous.
Okay, anonymous.
આમ તો એક વસ્તુ છે સ્વામી કે કોઈક હોય સત્સંગમાં પણ they don't marry, but they don't become sadhus or sankhyogi bhais as well. But what they do is they remain in Mandir. So these are extraordinary cases where ભલે ગ્રસ્તાશ્રમ ન જાઓ તો એ શું કરે તો just so that he keeps himself safe તો એ સત્સંગમાં જોડાઈ જાય બસ.
જેમ કે અંજારની અંદર મયારામ કરીને એક ભગત હતા. સો એ બ્રહ્મચારી જ રહેતા, આખી જિંદગી બ્રહ્મચારી અને ગાયોની સેવા કરી, આખી જિંદગી મંદિરની જે ગૌશાળા છે એમાં સેવા કરી. એટલે એને લગ્ન કરવાનો પણ અવસર નહોતો આવ્યો અને આખી જિંદગી સેવા જ કરતા હતા ત્યાં જ રહીને ગૌશાળામાં. એટલે બ્રહ્મચારી રહ્યા, બ્રહ્મચર્ય વ્રતનું પાલન કરીને. એટલે આવી રીતે જો કરતા હોય તો at least you know you're in a safe place. કે ઘણી વખતે this just becomes an excuse કે મને લગ્ન નથી કરવાને, મને સાધુ પણ નથી થવું, ત્યાગાશ્રમ પણ નથી અપનાવ, જસ્ટ વચ્ચે ફ્રીડમ. એટલે એવી રીતે જો પ્રશ્ન હોય તો you definitely need to be part of an ashram.
Okay. Coming towards the end, so just a few more couple more questions. This was a popular one that was asked a few times. Are female devotees allowed to do abhishek of Shiv Bhagwan and or a Shivling, as some people do and some people don't? Is there any references in the Shastras that say anything about this?
એટલે એમ પરંપરા પ્રમાણે જોવા જાય શાસ્ત્રીય દ્રષ્ટિએ તો બહેનોને નિષેધ છે કે અભિષેક એ શિવ ભગવાનને ન કરાવે. અને ભારતની અંદર પણ આપણે જાય તો અમુક જે મુખ્ય મંદિરો છે એની અંદર ન થતું હોય, પણ obviously now times have changed and કરતા હોય છે, but it's strictly prohibited in our scriptures. બાકી આપણે કચ્છની અંદર પણ આ મંદિરોમાં જતા હોય તો બાયો ડાયરેક્ટલી સ્નાન ન કરાવે, એ કાં તો પૂજારીને કહે એટલે પૂજારી એ સ્નાન કરાવી દે દૂધથી. પોતે દૂધ લઈ આવે હરિભક્તો, બેન ભક્તો, અને હા એના વતેથી એના તરફથી પૂજારી હોય સ્નાન કરાવે, અથવા તો એના પતિ હોય કે એના કુટુંબીજન હોય. બાકી ડાયરેક્ટલી સ્નાન કરવાનો એમાં નિષેધ છે. So you can't basically bathe.
What do you mean by nishad?
So?
Nishad એટલે શું?
નિષેધ એટલે prohibited. It's prohibited.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's 2 questions, a couple of questions.
This one's I reckon this could go on for a while, this question, but let's see if we can keep it short. So question is euthanasia allowed in satsang? It's a question that I think has been discussed before.
Well, if you want to keep it short, the direct answer to no matter how many arguments you may fire out is a straight no. Because to give and to take a life is completely in the hands of Bhagwan at the end of the day. No matter what that person is going through, no matter what pain they are going through, unfortunately, that power is in the hands of Bhagwan. So, unfortunately, yeah, આપને એમ લાગે કે આપણા beloved family members કદાચ they're very ill, fatally ill, and they're going through a lot of pain, and it's difficult to see somebody that you love going through that pain, and even they would be requesting, okay, I want to end my life. But it's still taking one's life immaturely, prematurely, okay, before it's actually deemed to pass away.
And the human form that Bhagwan has given is very precious. And as Swami said, we don't have the right to take away our life or anybody else's life. And કદાચ આપણે લઈ લઈને, first of all, એ કર્મનું ફળ છે. Specifically, એ જે જીવ જે કર્મ કર્યું હોય, the karmas that soul has done specifically, એનું ફળ છે. These are the fruits. ખરાબ કર્મ કર્યું હોય તો એને એ પ્રમાણે ભોગવવું પડે. So if we were to end somebody's life like that, we are interfering in Bhagwan's એનું જે કામ છે ભગવાનનું, હા, we are actually interfering in his work. અને બીજું કે કદાચ આપણે એનો લાઈફ એન્ડ કરી તો આપણે એનું પાપ ભોગવવું જ પડે, આપણે હત્યાનું પાપ લાગે જ. સો ઇફ વી આર રેડી ફોર ધેટ તો પછી તમે કરો તો આપણે એમાં કોઈ કાંઈ ન કહીએ કે, બાકી એમાં જરૂર પાપ લાગે છે એમ. અને અહિંસા ઇઝ પરમો ધર્મ.
એમ ન કહેજો ને કે they'll say, oh, we love them so much, I'm prepared to take the sin and I'll just
But that's
put
their
them at
choice,
peace.
Swami.
Yeah.
એ તો એનો ચોઈસની વાત હે ને. And nobody will go to do that.
But Swami, do you know how you said it's obviously that soul's journey to Maharaj, and so they have to go through that experience. But you know how sometimes when a soul, as medically, when they say that body is like a vegetable where they can't taking anything from their indriyas or anything, they're just there, they're brain dead for like a few months or so. Like for example, Michael Schumacher, he was like in a coma for about 3 months or so, and so in that sense, there's nothing left for that soul to gain on this planet. What would they do in that sense? Would you just let them keep going on the machine, or
When do they decide to turn off the machine?
turn off that machine? So if they're not getting anything from the indriya, so that soul has no way of getting anything on this earth, and they're just there.
અને ભલે આ કેવું ન જોઈએ કદાચ, I don't know, but મશીનમાં રાખવા, so we're still interfering in Bhagwan's process. કેમ કે કદાચ એ ન રહેત મશીનમાં, આપણે જબરદસ્તીથી એને જીવતા રાખી રહ્યા, એના કરતાં એનો જીવ હાલો ગયો હોત ભગવાન એના પ્રારબ્ધ પ્રમાણે. But we might also be interfering આવી રીતે કરાતે. હવે જો કે ટેકનોલોજી બધી ઇન્વોલ્વ થઈ ગઈ એટલે we have certain ways of doing things, પણ શાસ્ત્ર પ્રમાણે આપણે જોવા જાય તો at the end of the day,
How do you mean interfering? So if somebody is in a coma
hmm,
and he's linked to a machine,
ah,
is that interfering? But sometimes you have people coming back to life, ને એમ.
એટલે કદાચ
તો એવું ન કરવાનું એમ.
ના એટલે એમ નહીં કે કદાચ મશીનમાં ન રાખ્યા હતા
Yeah.
તો એ પોતાની રીતે આવી જાત
ના
પાછો દેહ
ના આવત
ના આવત
ના આવત
તો એની મૃત્યુ થાત
થાત.
તો પછી એ મૃત્યુ એ થવું એનું પ્રારબ્ધ હતું કે પછી
Who
આપણે
knows?
એનું મૃત્યુ રોક્યું.
Who knows? But it's like saying
So,
somebody had an accident.
yeah.
Should we treat them? If we don't treat them, they're going to die.
And
So
that's why I said that it might be interfering in Bhagwan's work.
No,
Even
but
I'm
we-
not completely sure about that, Swami.
but I get no, barabar. But we have to
it's a
do
question.
everything in our power
Hmm.
to keep that person alive. Ne? At the end of the day, each and every મારી નાખવાની જે યુથનેશનની વાત છે,
Huh.
that's અલગ કે do we end one's life,
Hmm.
પણ to keep a person or live, not keep him, but to do whatever you can to ensure that he doesn't die, there's no question about it. There's no, you can't say you're interfering. Everything that we do, you're going to the doctors, is interfering with God's work.
Interesting. So what's your take on it then?
No, my take is we should do anything in our power, anything and
Yeah.
everything,
Hmm.
to ensure that a person lives.
Just to ensure that the person lives, no matter how much pain
No, yeah.
they're going through, no?
I mean, yeah. But
Barabar.
but the person in a coma,
Hmm.
that's a different story.
Barabar.
But
Okay.
the doctors will come to a decision that there's no chance
Hmm.
for that person actually living if you turn off the switch someday in the future. There's nothing in their power. This person will live. But then that's fine. But if there's any chance that person can live, and you've got the capabilities, in my view.
બરાબર છે.
So just to clarify, we wouldn't get BAP if we had to switch off the switch if that person was in a coma for a prolonged amount of time with no chance of coming back to life.
Yeah. So if there's no chance, there's no point just paying a lot of money to the hospital and keeping that person.
પાછી ખબર ન પડે ને સમાધિમાં ગયા હોય હવે 6 મહિને સમાધિમાંથી પાછા આવતા અને આપણા
માઇકલ
ઇતિહાસો
શ્યુમાકર
છે
કદાચ એટલી સાધના કરી હોય એ નક્કી નહીં યોગ
કે ત્યાં
ભ્રષ્ટ
અગ્નિ
હોય.
સંસ્કાર કરવા લઈ ગયા હોય અને ચિતામાંથી સીધા ઊભા થઈ જાય.
That'd be a first to see, Swami. Okay, moving on to the next question. I think this question is by a female devotee. The question goes, why can't Sankhyogi Bhais travel like Santos? If Dharmajiv and Swami gave Agna to Santos to travel and to spread satsang, can Bhais not do the same? Looking back, we wouldn't be sitting here right now celebrating an Utsav if it was not the wish of Santos to come to the UK and build mandirs.
Why can't they? Well, they can. They're allowed to. I think it's just their personal choice not to. You can guess, some of their dharmas, they're quite strict with them. So they just decide, okay, now we won't be traveling. And કદાચ બીજું કંઈ કારણ હોય then the ladies will have to ask the Sankhyogi Bhais કે તમે કેમ નથી આવતા? અમને તો હવે ખબર જાજી નથી અમને.
Because there's always that discussion where Santos forsake their dharma, so they do upvasis when they're traveling and so forth. And so then the women then say, how comes then the bios can't do that? Because just how Santos have, without them, we wouldn't have SSYM Digital, all the Yuak Mandir, for example. So how forward would we have been if the Sankhyogi Bhais came?
Yeah, maybe Sankhyogi Bhais believe કે જે સંતો સત્સંગ કરાવે છે that's પર્યાપ્ત, બાયુને લાભ મળે છે, હરિભક્તને લાભ મળે છે, so that's fine. કે અમને જરૂર નથી, અમે અહીંયા દેશમાં સત્સંગ કરાવી. Like I said, we don't know the actual answer to what the Sankhyogi Bhais are thinking.
એક પોઝિટિવ વસ્તુ એ છે સ્વામી સંતો હોય તો કે સંતો જો સત્સંગ કરાવે ને તો બાઈઓને ભાઈઓ બે લાભ લઈ શકે અને સાંખ્યોગી બેનો સત્સંગ કરાવે તો that's only for the ladies.
That's a very good answer, Pulkit Bhai. Yeah. ઈ છે ઈ આપે નતું વિચાર્યું ની.
That's true.
Are we good for time or
One question that's just come in on live,
okay?
and then we'll wrap it up. Are we allowed to eat mushrooms?
Joe, if you've been watching the SSYM digital Q&As, that question has actually come up. So we won't answer that, and we'll leave that to the viewers to find that particular video on YouTube, and it's there, and you'll be able to get your answer with scriptural references for that question.
Okay, that's great. So this Hari Bhakta who asked the question, he has to flick through all the videos right from the beginning, because obviously we don't know where the
Q&A session.
They could
the
just
Q&A
the
session.
The Q&A session, yeah.
Okay, so just the Q&A sessions. Okay.
And there's also been the summary poster that we also
Instagram.
give out. But just to put you out of your misery, કદાચ આવતીકાલે ધામમાં જાય જે પછી વાસના રહી જાય કે I want to know the answer. પણ સંતો ઈ વખતે they give the answer કે mushrooms are not allowed. And at that time we actually found scriptural references to mushrooms. અને શાસ્ત્રમાં છે એટલે બસ સત્સંગી જીવન શિક્ષાપત્રી ભાષ્યમાં પણ એ શબ્દ આવે છે કે mushrooms ન ખવાય. So it's similar to onions and garlics. Why we cannot eat onions and garlics, the same reason why we can't eat mushrooms.
I hope that answers that. Okay, so we're just going to finish up. It's not a question, but it's a message left by Hari Bhakta, a message to the Santo. There are no words to thank you enough for all the efforts you have put in during this difficult time. You have kept us sane and full of courage and faith. You have kept all Mandirs united and ensured our satsang progresses. The virtual sessions and the behind-the-scenes tasks you do are not unnoticed. Thank you for caring for our welfare so much. Another one. A huge thank you to you, to our Yuvak Mandal Santos, for all their hard work these past few months in providing us with numerous SSYM digital sessions and gathas, especially more now seen as all the Patotsav responsibilities have come on to the remaining two Santos.
Thank you, and we're really grateful for those kind words. And it's not us two doing everything, but it's through the support of all the Mandirs, the committee members, the Hari Bhaktos, and that's how we've been able to be successful with SSYM Digital and the Patotsavs.
So thank you to all the Hari Bhaktos that are working also behind the scenes to make all of this actually,
So it's a group effort, it's a family effort, it's a united effort. And we know through our successful shivas in the past, Apun Laksh, Dasatva, these kind of events are, an example of where we have been so successful when we've been able to work together. And this is exactly what's happened during these difficult times. Santos haven't been able to come from India to UK to do the Patotsavs. And we haven't been able to do the things that we planned to do, but still, we've had quite a fruitful, days and months through the COVID.
Okay.
I think we conclude the session on this note. Big round of applause. બધા વિવરને વિનંતી કરું કે સંતોને જોરદાર તાળીઓથી વધાવી અને એમના ચરણોમાં વંદન કરીએ. Thank you very much, Swami, for the exceptional inside information and explanation of all questions. And I'm sure there will be many more question and answer session, in upcoming events. Yeah, sure. જે પણ પ્રશ્નોનો જવાબ સંતોથી અત્યારે નથી અપાયો એ પાછળથી સંતો આપશે અને કોઈ પણ on the website. Sorry. Yeah, all the remaining questions will be answered on the website, and feel free to send more questions, and we'll try to address the santos. But yeah, thank you very much. Jai Swaminarayan, and good night.